It's the middle of the night, and something is watching you from a branch, completely silent. No wing flap, no warning, no sound at all. Just two enormous eyes locked forward, staring the way a predator stares, the way a human stares. It's an owl, and it's been sitting in trees near humans for longer than most civilizations have existed. We eat chicken by the billions every single year. We eat duck, turkey, goose, quail, pheasant, even pigeon in restaurants across Paris and Cairo. Almost every bird that has ever crossed paths with humans has at some point ended up on a plate, except this one. A bird that's been perched outside farmhouses and city windows for thousands of years, and somehow, almost nowhere on Earth, does anyone eat it on purpose. So here's the question nobody actually stops to ask. An owl is a bird, same basic biology as a chicken, same muscle, same protein, same evolutionary blueprint we've been farming for 10,000 years. So why did humanity draw an invisible line around this one specific animal and quietly agree it doesn't count as food? The first explanation people jump to is taste. Maybe owl just tastes disgusting, and that's the whole story. It's a tidy answer. It's also wrong. The handful of documented accounts from hunters, survival manuals, and the rare cultures that have eaten owl describe the meat as tough and gamey, comparable to a lean duck or a dark meat pheasant. Not pleasant if you cook it badly. Sure, but no worse than plenty of birds people happily eat every day. So maybe it's nutrition instead? Also no. Owls are lean, high-protein predators, nutritionally in the same range as a hawk or a large game bird. Neither explanation survives contact with the facts. Something else is going on here, and it isn't biology. The real answer starts with fear, and it goes back thousands of years before anyone had a word for biology at all. Across cultures with zero contact with each other, owls got tied to death. Roman writers linked an owl's call to the death of an emperor. Aztec mythology cast the owl as a messenger of the underworld, an omen you did not want to hear outside your window at night. Across parts of Africa and among numerous indigenous nations in North America, an owl calling near a home was treated as a direct warning that someone nearby was going to die. Even in ancient Egypt, where owls were sometimes respected as hieroglyphic symbols, the bird was still linked to night, death, and the underworld rather than anything you'd want on a dinner table. Shakespeare leaned on the same association centuries later, using an owl's shriek as a signal of doom right before a murder in Macbeth, because by then the symbolism was so universally understood that audiences didn't need it explained. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. And patterns like that, repeating across unconnected civilizations for thousands of years, usually point to something real underneath the myth, not just imagination. Researchers studying owl anatomy found the myths weren't random at all. Owls are almost engineered to feel unsettling. Their feathers have a comb-like serrated edge that breaks up airflow, letting them fly in near-total silence, without the wing flutter every other bird makes. That means an owl can appear and disappear without a single warning sound, deeply unnatural to a species like ours that relies on hearing danger approach. Add to that the fact that owls are almost entirely active at night, exactly when early humans were most vulnerable and most on edge. And then there's the eyes. Unlike a chicken or duck, whose eyes sit on the sides of the head to scan for danger, an owl's eyes face forward, exactly like a predator's, exactly like ours. Total silence, nighttime activity, and a predator's stare, stacked on top of each other. That's a bird that was quietly terrifying humans for very real physical reasons, long before anyone turned that fear into a story. Compare that to a hawk or a falcon. Birds just as sharp-tailed and carnivorous. Humans didn't just tolerate those birds, we actively partnered with them, training falcons for hunting as far back as ancient Mesopotamia. The difference isn't diet, and it isn't danger. Hawks hunt in daylight, in the open where you can watch them coming. An owl hunts in darkness, in silence, somewhere you can't see or hear it at all. One predator earned partnership, the other earned dread. The taboo wasn't absolute, though. During famines in medieval Europe, owl occasionally shows up on lists of last resort foods, alongside crow and other birds nobody touched unless there was nothing else left. Some northern indigenous communities hunted snowy owls during brutal winters when other game disappeared, treating it purely as emergency protein. There are even accounts of small owls appearing on tables in parts of medieval France, served the way tiny songbirds like ortolan once were, a shocking rarity, not an everyday meal. Humans could eat owl, they just consistently chose not to, unless survival left no other option. And then modern law made the taboo permanent, for a reason that has nothing to do with any of it. In the United States, owls are federally protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, illegal to hunt, kill, or even possess without a special permit. Most of Europe enforces near-identical protections, so even the rare person curious enough today is legally out of luck almost everywhere on the planet. But there's another piece to this that has nothing to do with fear or superstition at all, and it might be the biggest reason the taboo never needed to break. A single barn owl can eat more than 1,000 rodents in a single year. Farmers who once nailed dead owls to barn doors as a warning against evil spirits eventually noticed something else going on right above their heads. The fields near owl nests had fewer rats, fewer mice, and less crop damage than fields without them. In parts of Malaysia and Israel today, farmers have gone as far as installing wooden nest boxes specifically to attract barn owls onto their land, essentially hiring a free, self-replicating pest control service instead of using rodenticide. A single breeding pair and their offspring can clear a rodent population that would otherwise cost a farm thousands of dollars in poison and crop loss every year. Researchers monitoring these programs have found palm oil plantations using owl boxes cut rodenticide use by more than half while maintaining the same level of pest control. That changes the entire economics of the question. A chicken produces meat and eggs, so its value to a farmer is direct and immediate. You raise it, then you eat it or sell what it makes. An owl produces something you can't put on a plate. Fewer rats in your grain silo, fewer mice in your walls. An entire pest problem quietly handled for free every single night without a single chemical involved. Killing that owl for one meal would mean trading away months of free pest control for a single tough, gamey dinner. Economically, it's one of the worst trades a farmer could make. So even in places where the old superstitions have faded and nobody genuinely believes an owl's call predicts a death in the family anymore, the practical incentive to leave the bird alive never went away. If anything, it's gotten stronger, as more farmers have caught on to exactly how much free labor is sitting quietly in their rafters. Some conservation groups have taken that logic even further, running full campaigns to rebrand the owl from omen to ally. Barn owl nest box programs have spread across vineyards in California, wheat farms in the Netherlands, and rice paddies across Southeast Asia, all chasing the same result. Fewer chemicals in the soil, healthier topsoil, and a rodent population kept in check by something that was terrifying people for free the entire time. It's a strange kind of ending for an animal that spent thousands of years being nailed to doors as a warning. The very thing that made it feel like a monster in the dark, hunting silently, alone, at night, with nobody watching, turned out to be exactly the skill set a farmer would pay good money for, if the owl ever sent an invoice. So that owl sitting silently on the branch above you isn't inedible, and it isn't secretly more dangerous than the chicken in your fridge right now. It's a bird that happened to be silent, nocturnal, and forward-eyed at exactly the wrong evolutionary moment, just human enough in its stare to feel wrong, just quiet enough to feel like a warning nobody could ever quite explain. Maybe that's the real reason it never made it onto a plate, not because of what it is. Because somewhere, on nearly every continent at once, someone heard it call out of the darkness thousands of years ago and decided that sound meant something was coming.